Hey, I'm Aleesha Bake.
I'm Jen Greenfield.
And I'm Jen Tophoney. VO Booth Besties listen to the questions you have.
We find pros in the know to help you learn.
And connect with our amazing VO community. Welcome to VO Booth Besties.
Hey everybody, welcome to VO Booth Besties. Like our intro said, we're here to help working voice actors get your most important questions answered by industry pros who know. Each week we have a new topic and a guest speaker who is an expert on that topic. Speaking of which, we want to make sure you all are current on all the awesome speakers we have coming up and other exciting opportunities. So we're creating an email distro list. If you guys want to get on it, head over to boothbesties.com and just shoot us a quick message with your email and we'll add you to that list. A quick bit of housekeeping. In order to stay on topic and get as many of your questions answered as we can, we're actually going to keep hand raising turned off. However, the chat will remain open, and this week I will be monitoring that. Now, without further ado, let's meet our guest. Over to you, AB.
Thanks, NJ. This week, we are honored to interview Dani States. Dani States is the founder of VoiceOverView, the business tracking and management platform built specifically for us, voice actors, and producers and coaches. In addition to running and managing the day-to-day operations of VOV since 2017, Dani has been a full-time voice actor since 2014. With nearly 20 years of corporate marketing experience, Dani dove into voiceover with little training or knowledge of the voiceover industry. But she did know business and quickly began to apply her business acumen, along with lots of training, to her budding voiceover career. Fast forward to 2021, Dani has built a robust career, regularly voicing campaigns on Pandora and Spotify, as well as commercial and corporate projects for clients like Robinhood Investing, Hill Brothers Coffee, I can speak, Frigidaire, WebMD, National Safety Council, Intel, AbbVie, Publix, and many others. Over to you, GT.
Thanks, AB. Dani, thanks so much for joining us. How are you?
Hi guys.
Hi,
gals. Thanks for having me. As you can tell, I am not a clubhousey. I do occasional interviews, but I don't frequent it. So
we want to talk about all the things about
Great.
CRMs. So now I've come from the corporate world like ages and ages ago, and I've used CRMs for work, but they were already established databases with the functionality that I just needed for that job. And when I think about setting up a CRM for my voiceover business, I'm like a deer in headlights.
Yes.
And I think a lot of our audience is probably in the same place. So let's start with the basics. What is a CRM?
So I come from the corporate world too. So I've worked with Salesforce, probably primarily. So a CRM it stands for client relationship management. And then you can say system, platform, app, whatever, right? And typically large companies use CRMs to manage, everything from our online shopping habits and their online shopping customers to customers that buy their services and products, all the things. And generally with a CRM, what it does is it tracks all of the communications and interactions. They oftentimes interact with your email. And some of the ones that are currently being used most often by voice actors are Nimble and Zoho, sometimes contactually, and VoiceOverView is another one. And kind of depending on what you're looking for, a CRM can either be a huge helper or it can be a huge time suck and a detractor. And so no wonder you're a deer in the headlights. It really I'm a deer in the headlights when I look at some of them. So yeah, that's what a CRM is.
Okay. So why should a voiceover artist have a CRM?
Why should you have one? Well, I think the question is, should you have one? Really? Depending on your business. So, and I say this with, full transparency. So depending on your business, you may or may not need a CRM, or you may or may not need a CRM that has robust functionality. So at the end of the day, what you want as a voice actor, as you begin to build your career, is you want to be able to stay in contact with your clients. And so the best way to stay in contact with your clients is to have their email address and to have probably their physical address, although I'll be 100% honest here and say I rarely write that down, and later when I need it, I go track it down and it's hard. So
Likewise.
but yeah, exactly, right. How little information can I have to get by with this thing? Um, but you need it so that you can stay in contact with your current clients. You may need it if you are somebody who goes out and does email prospecting. If you're doing cold emailing, if you're doing cold calling. You may need a CRM to keep track of when you last called this person or when you last emailed this person. What did you say to them? And if you're somebody who follows something like Mark Scott's marketing program, his VO Marketing Pro program,
Right.
then you probably want a CRM so that you can make sure that you're doing those continuous touches. Same thing if you're following League of List Builders. You want to make sure that you're doing those continuous down the line touches. I don't do that. So I'll just be honest about that. I wish I did, but I don't have the stomach for it. Having been in marketing for 20 years, 15, 20 years, I just don't have the stomach for doing it. So I don't. So you need a CRM if you are doing those activities. You also need a CRM to manage your current clients. So your current clients, you might not need anything that's super robust. So there's Nimble, Zoho, as I said, contactually. Close is a great one. Those all integrate with your email system. So they integrate with email. I personally use Close in conjunction with VoiceOverView.
Okay.
So Close integrates with your email. It goes out. It goes through all of your email. Kind of figures out who your highest touch contacts are. You can then super easily go in and manage those contacts. Like, is it an agent? Is it a manager? Is it a production house? Is it a client direct? Those kinds of things. Is it a prospect, somebody that I'm talking to but hasn't hired me yet via email? You can go out and you can classify them, and it's super easy to use. I love it. But again, I'll say I love it and I don't use it enough. um, so, I mean, I think it's just so important. There are so many people who talk about all the things that we should do in our business. And I'm one of those people who talks about what we should do in our business. But does that mean that I do all of it? No, it doesn't. So I'm not some super power marketer. So should a voiceover artist have a CRM? Yes, probably some sort of way to track and manage your clients. Yes.
Okay. So
how's that?
That's perfect. And actually, what you just said about Close made me sigh in relief, because that sounds like a really good place to start.
Yeah. Let me say CLOZE with a Z.
Yes.
Or a Z. Yeah.
So if you're new to voiceover and you're just building your career, I guess it's a great time to start with a CRM.
Mm-hmm.
But what about somebody like me who's been in the business for 15 years and hasn't? Do you just jump in where you are, or should you try to backtrack? What do you do with that?
It's a great question. That's a great question. And so I fully believe that you should start where you are. Just start where you are. I happened to start tracking my business as soon as I started, and just to give you a little background. So I got laid off from my marketing job in 2013, and so I had 6 months of unemployment, and I was like, okay, I'm going to try VoiceOver. And I'm going to track everything that I do to see whether or not I can even start to make the kind of money that I was making as a marketing executive.
Okay.
And of course, in the first year, I did not make that kind of money, but I was able to like track my business. I was able to track the number of auditions I did. So, as a starting out voice actor, what you really need to do, if you're on the pay to place, for example, if you're on Voice 123 and voices.com, or any of the online casting platforms, you want to track the number of auditions that you're doing on those platforms and the number of auditions that you're winning. So for me, when I first started out, it took me 150 to 200 auditions. And this was in 2014, back when,
Hmm.
you could book a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it took me 150 to 200 auditions to book a job. But by the time I hit that 6-month unemployment deadline where my unemployment ended, and I was either, okay, you better go get yourself a job or you can continue doing voiceover, I was booking 10 to 1.
Wow.
So then I knew, okay, I'm making money in this business now, and my audition to booking ratio is very acceptable. I know I can do 10 to 15 auditions and book at least one of those. And, off I went. Now, I'll be honest, here it is, 9 years later, and that is not my audition to booking ratio now. Like, the business has changed so much. So that is
Yeah.
not my audition to booking ratio. I sure as heck wish it was.
Hey, me too.
I know. I'm like, wow, it'd be awesome. But no. So, so as a starting out voice actor, here's what you really want to track. You want to track your audition to booking ratio. You want to know exactly how many auditions it takes for you to book a job. That's so important, because if it takes you 100 auditions to book one job, you better be doing 200 or 300 auditions a month in order to just, start scratching the surface.
Right.
Yeah, you also want to be able to see, hopefully, that trajectory goes, that your audition to booking ratio goes up. So if you're tracking your auditions and tracking the number of bookings that you're doing, uh, both aggregately and by platform. So, what's your audition to booking ratio on Voice 123? What is it on voices.com? What is it on Bidalgo, on VO Planet, etc. If you know that, then you also know where you can concentrate your efforts more. So if you're
Right.
booking more on Bidalgo, God, double down on Bidalgo. So that's one thing you should track. The other thing, as a beginning voice actor, somebody who's just starting out, the other thing you really should be tracking is your expenses. One of the things that's so important, if you are working with any of the major coaching organizations, if you're working with private coaches, etc., and you are still in those beginning stages where you're putting out more than you're bringing in, you really want to know, how much am I really spending? I mean, and let me say this: you really don't want to know, but you really should know. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, and all of this, like, you really want to know the truth about your business. I'm a huge proponent of knowing the reality and the truth of your business, because if you don't know the reality and truth of where you are right now, you have no idea of how to get where you're going. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. And then, tracking your money, tracking your jobs. When it's easy when when you're booking 1 or 2 jobs a month. It's easy to know that you've booked, that you've auditioned, booked, delivered, invoiced, and gotten paid for your job. That's real easy to track when you're tracking 1 or 2 jobs. But when you start to build your business and you start to have repeat customers and you start to book more auditions, then, you could have 2 or 3 jobs a day, or you could have 3 or 4 jobs a week, or whatever it is. And suddenly, then it becomes like a business to actually manage. And that's when you really need more of a business system to help you keep track of your business. Um, I'm a big proponent of really viewing your voiceover business as a business. I think so many voice actors don't don't really realize or don't really think about themselves as running a business. I'm a voice actor. I do voiceover and people pay me for it. And I sometimes invoice them. Sometimes I forget. Did I invoice that guy? I don't know, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And at the end of the day, we are each and every one of us running a business. And so we have to find a way to know the truth about our business as simply as possible in order to manage that. So,
JT, can
Yeah.
I jump on in that real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to say real quick to your point, Dani, one of the things I know when JT and AB and I have been at conferences, there is a lot of reliance on P2Ps, or online casting. And so it's so interesting for you to drive home that point about treating it like a business, because it's very easy for us to go, but I don't have to do anything because the site does it for me. But then it's making sure that your mentality is such that, one, you want to be developing relationships and bringing them to you to be your own client, not, affiliated with the sites. But yeah, to your point, have your business in place and don't just rely
yep.
on the sites to do the work for you. That's all I wanted to reinforce.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I may, I'd love to drop in my 2 cents about that.
Sure.
So, voice 123, you own the client. That's lovely. The client can book you wherever they want you, however they want you. They can do it through the site if they think that's best for them. They can email you directly. They can do whatever they want, right? There are other platforms that are not like that. And what I would say about that, and I practice this myself, and I don't care if I get kicked off of them, frankly. But the way that I treat that part of my business, for any of the platforms that say they own the client, for any of those platforms that say they own the client, I say, no, you don't. You are treating me as a voice actor like a commodity. I am just a commodity that you are selling to anybody who will buy me. And so, like a commodity, like a box of Cheerios, which is a commodity, you can buy a box of Cheerios at Safeway or Kroger or Publix or wherever you want to buy your cereal. I'm a box of cereal. They can buy me however they want. Once somebody has booked me on one of the platforms that is not transparent, some of them actually their name, and some of them you often know their business. So I will go and find those people on LinkedIn, and I will reach out and I will say, thank you so much for booking me. It was such a pleasure to work with you. I'd love to work with you again. If you'd like to hire me through platform X, great. That would be lovely. If you'd like to hire me direct, you now have my info.
Yeah. And it's not, no, I mean, it's not always easy to do, but it is so important. I was on a platform similar to Voices, and the things changed, and the rates were not commensurate with the work, and so I left the platform. But I did have a few regular clients on there. So
Right.
one, I was able to track down through the company that I did the training for on a regular basis, and 5 years later, I still do the training for that person.
Yep.
And another one actually tracked me down when I left. And again, 5 years later, I still, a couple times a month, get these scripts for new product development stuff. And, that they're my client. They did not
Yes,
belong
they
to that
are.
platform.
Yes, they are. I agree 100%. And it's not easy to reach out, but I think it can be very diplomatic. Like I said,
Yeah.
feel, wherever it's easiest for you to book me next time. If it's through the platform, great. If it's direct to me, great. We're connected now. So that leaves it in their ballpark. It gives them the freedom to book you however they feel, they want to, and off you go. But I agree 100%. They are your client. They are your client.
Yep.
And if they want to book you again, they should have the freedom to book you however they want. Without the additional platform fee and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, and I have those same clients. I have clients that I took off of a platform, and here they are, 8 years later, 9 years later, we still work together, and they are some of my best clients. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
So I'd like to ask you a few things specifically about VoiceOverView because you are the perfect CRM for VoiceOver because that's what you do, and so you
Yeah.
know it. And
Yeah.
so, how does your client address book in a CRM, VoiceOverView specifically, differ from your email contact list?
Hugely. So if I put voice overview and close next to one another, so
Hmm.
voice overview is full of contacts that I have worked with. A few people that have reached out to me or I've reached out to, and we've had a nice back and forth, but they haven't hired me yet. But the majority, 98% of my contacts are people that I have booked work with and have worked for and done projects for. My close has people that I have just emailed with. Maybe they've emailed me back, maybe they haven't. Maybe we've talked a little bit, maybe, but there's not um, there's not a business relationship yet.
Okay.
And for me with VoiceOverView, so with VoiceOverView, because it is a business tracking and management platform. So what we call ourselves, we're a business tracking and management platform with a simple CRM component. And that simple CRM component consists of you've got your clients in there, you've got their name, their company, you've got their email address. The email address link is a live link that when you click on it, it will open up your email client and you can email the client
Oh,
from
nice.
from whatever your email host is. But it won't track that. It won't say, oh, you emailed this person. It won't take any of that information. It simply just is the conduit to your
Okay.
email. And then you can keep notes in there. You can keep notes that are managed based on date. You can keep notes also that are managed based on the system itself. And so it's a very, very simple CRM. And it also gives you the ability to um, um, sort your companies by the amount of money that you've made with them and all of that. So you really can see a lot of information from there. But it's very simple. Whereas Close, it has not only all of my clients and all of the emails that I've sent back and forth with clients, and it will tell me, hey, you haven't talked to this person. This person is a good client, and you haven't emailed with them in a month. It gives you a daily dashboard that gives you your actions for the day. My daily dashboard currently has like 6 actions that I should take today and about 150 plus that are overdue. so so for anybody out there who's listening who's like, oh wow, she's so organized, she really stays on top of her stuff, no what wonder she's been in the business so long and she's successful. No, that's not true. I don't stay on top of my stuff. So anyway, I don't want to paint myself that way.
So, what types of information do you add to make the most out of your client info?
So for my clients, I add just the 4 pieces of information that I need to add to Voice Overview. So I add their company, their first name, last name, and email address. Occasionally, if it's a production house, or if I've done like a Source Connect, if I've booked with an agency and I've done a Source Connect session with another studio, I'll keep those clients as well because I'll want to reach out to them and say, hey, John, we worked together on this project. If you guys keep a roster, I'd love to be on your roster, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll put those in there and I'll tag them, but they won't have necessarily a job associated with them. For some clients, I do keep their physical address because I want to send a card or I want to send something. And again, I want to send. I don't generally send, but I want to send a card. I want to send some sort of physical mailing thing that says, "Hi, thank you so much." Um, so I will keep those. I will keep addresses sometimes for some clients, but not every client for sure.
Okay. I noticed that VoiceOverView has the ability to use a tracking link. Can you tell me what it is and how you use it?
Yeah, so that's sort of a misnomer. And we're actually in the middle of revamping our public facing website so that it is
Okay.
more, it sounds more accurate than that. So on Voice Overview, well, and now actually, let me go back to the question about what do I keep track of with my contacts as well. So I was
Okay.
talking specifically about contacts. I also keep track of all the jobs that I do with every individual contact. So I'll talk about that a little bit later. But so the tracking link, so Voice Overview offers a very simple one-page website. And it's very much like a profile page on voices.com or Voice123. In fact, we kind of looked at both of those and thought, okay, well, what do we want to create from this? How would we like to mimic this? Not because we are a casting site, but because we wanted to give subscribers who are just starting out in the business and don't have the ability to pay for a full-blown website don't have the work yet to show for it, maybe one or two demos and that kind of thing. So this is a place to kind of park one or two demos and have a web presence that costs you nothing. As long, if you're a subscriber to Voice Overview, then you get this one-page website for free. And the tracking link, you can create individual tracking links. So like if you were doing prospecting, marketing, you could in theory, and I wouldn't do it to this level of granularity, but you could in theory create a tracking link for every single person that you send an email to and put that tracking link in the email, and you would know whether or not they clicked on that link and played one of your demos or more of your demos. So you'd be able to see that. But it's not something that you can use anywhere else. It links directly back to that one-page website.
Okay.
And with the one-page website, what I would say is if you have a full-blown website, if you've been in the business for 10, 15 years, of course you have a full-blown website, you would never want to use this website, the one-page website. It would not be of value to you.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
AB, we have hit the 30-minute mark.
Wow.
I know, right?
Woohoo! Well, it's time for our reset, a room reset. If you've just joined us, we are VO Booth Besties, and our goal is to help working voice actors get their most important questions answered by an industry pro who knows. Today, it's Dani States, voice artist and founder of VoiceOverView, and we're discussing CRMs, how to measure business metrics, and all of those kinds of things. Thanks for joining us, and let's head back to the interview with JT.
Cool. Before we continue, NJ, I'm guessing you have a bunch of chat questions.
Well, not really, but
Okay.
some of the conversation has prompted my own questions, and that may prompt some more from the chat. So you may have said this, but again, since we just did a reset, I want to kind of go back to the beginning and really fundamentally, when someone is starting out in voiceover, or even if let's just say they're starting out in voiceover, do you recommend that rather than, Excel spreadsheeting it, that an actor should begin with a CRM to get in the habit to you just accept it, you need it, you're going to go with it? Do you think that's because I hear different coaching, I'm going to say companies, I can't think of another word off the top of my head, but who are like, you need a CRM, and people freak out like, oh my God, that's just one more expense and da da da.
Yep.
So do you think that's something upfront, you just build it into your business, your VO lifestyle? What do you think on that?
Yeah, I do. So I think so, and here's going to be a shameless plug for Voice Overview right here. So I think as a starting out voice actor, Voice Overview is the way to start. And I say that not because I run and manage it, but because that's exactly how I started. So Voice Overview started as a spreadsheet that was super blown out. So my husband is a brilliant finance guy, and I was a marketer, not so brilliant. And I needed to know about my business. And so he created this spreadsheet that by entering six data points, it fed this beautiful um, um, oh gosh, what's dashboard. It populated this beautiful dashboard that told me everything I needed to know about my business. It told me, how many jobs I had booked and how much I'd had delivered and whether or not I'd been paid and what my audition to booking ratio is, et cetera, all those things. And starting out with that gave me what I needed to know to understand whether or not I could actually make a business of voiceover. And I was a six-figure marketer, and I needed to know that could I get on that trajectory to be a six-figure voice actor, and being able to track that from the very beginning gave me so much information. It gave me the confidence to keep going. It, told me the truth about what I really needed to do in order to be successful and all those things. And as a voice actor, when you're just starting out, you do have to create good habits right from the beginning, because if you create those good habits from the very beginning, if you are maybe you're at first all you're doing is tallying up your auditions. You're doing, you did 3 on Voice123, you did 4 on voices.com, you did 2 on Badalgo, wherever, and you're tallying those up every day. And as you book a job, you're adding it to VoiceOverView, you're adding it in, you're starting to see the flow of your business. That is a great way to get in that habit. And when you get to the point where you're booking several a day or several a week, it will help you stay on top of that business.
That's a
Yeah.
fantastic way to approach that. I mean, that just, again, people are commenting in the chats like, okay, I'm feeling a little less anxiety about pursuing the CRM. So no, let's just be practical, because this is why we're here. We want people to get good information. What if you know VoiceOverView, but what if what are we talking monthly? What are we talking cost-wise? Are people going to freak out, or can we?
Not with VoiceOverView.
Okay.
No. So VoiceOverView is $9.99 a month or $96 a year.
And oh my gosh, that is a steal. Okay.
Yeah. And it's not because it's shitty. Oh, sorry. It's not sorry. I meant to say crappy and I don't know what happened. So it's not because it's not robust. It actually is very robust. We built it in 2017. So we've been around for, how long is that? 6 years? So we've been around for 6 years. We'll have our 6-year anniversary in June. And we started out very basic at we started out very basic, nothing like what it is now, at $9.99 a month, $96 a year. And then we have continued to reinvest in that and reinvest and build and add. And I'm never going to raise the rate on that, because everybody wants a piece of the pie. Everybody wants a piece of you. And I just think that we have to be realistic and create something. So my goal is to have a lot of voice actors use it and continue to build it out and make it really, really valuable to the community. And, that's the whole goal. So
that's wonderful. No, we appreciate it. I assure you already people are like, okay. Because how often, in any industry, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And and it can be overwhelming. You're not sure who to ask. You're not sure who to trust. And that's, again, I'm selfless plug for us. That's where VO Booth Besties came in, because we were tired of just not getting reliable, honest answers about the industry. And, you can, my gosh, pick a Facebook group and you'll get 30,000 different, answers to a question. So we really just want to cut through the noise. And I know that's cliche at this point, but it's really true. So we appreciate you are a member of the industry. You are supporting the community, and that's what we're trying to do. So this is perfect. So I also worked in the corporate world for a while, and we used Zoho. Now, I haven't used it outside of that. However, you could track everything. And I'm curious, with your own business and what you might speak to for other folks, Do you also include just, I'm going to say leads, whatever that definition is for you? So they're not a client. I've met them.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
do
yeah,
you
yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead and put them into your CRM?
I generally don't. But some people do. So some of our we have a nice subscriber base, and our subscriber base ranges from people who are literally just starting out to people who've been in the business for 20 plus years, people who are making almost no money, and people who are making multiple six figures. So it runs the gamut. And so I don't do that because I'm just not a very good marketer, and I don't reach out. I don't do a lot of cold marketing, email marketing or cold calling or anything like that. But some people do use VoiceOverView that way, and they add their prospects to it. Generally they add their leads. What's lead or prospect, whatever, right? But once somebody's actually said, hey, yeah, we're interested in you, that's when they will add them to VoiceOverView. So it really depends. What I say about VoiceOverView or any full-blown CRM, and I don't count VoiceOverView as a CRM in particular. It really is a business management system or business management platform. But when I talk about CRMs or business management platforms, do whatever you do that in a way that works for you and that you will be consistent doing. So if you can find a way to do something that you'll consistently do it, then do that. VoiceOverView, people ask me all the time, so when you track a job, you can say, it's commercial, you can say it's general, radio, TV, web, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, well, how do I classify this? And I'm like, well, however it works for you, classify it that way, and just make sure that every time you book a job like that, that you classify it that way. So I would say the same thing that's the same answer for how do you track your leads and your prospects. Do whatever you do, but just do it consistently. For most people, I recommend that that you keep a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet of people that you want to contact but have never contacted, or you have contacted and they've never responded. Keep them on a spreadsheet. And once they become somebody that's active with you, then you can add them to VoiceOverView. But again, do what works for you.
Right. And I like that.
We've got 2 questions in the chat. Jennifer Lanham asked if VoiceOverView has integrated with Close, or if you're going to.
That is still on our wish list, to be honest. So we have explored it, and we have the understanding of what it will take, and we have not yet undertaken to do it. So
that sounds like a huge thing.
It's a huge thing. And so we are integrated. So we are integrated with invoicing platforms, Wave Apps, QuickBooks, and FreshBooks.
Oh.
Yeah. And in order to integrate, there's something called an API, and I always forget what it means, but essentially it's the code that allows the platforms to exchange data. And so we know what we now know and understand exactly what the Close API offers and allows. And now we are in the process of figuring out, okay, so we know what they do, we know what they allow. So how can we plug this in a way that works and is seamless?
Right.
So it's bigger than I thought. So to be honest, 2 years ago, I think in 2020, I said, yeah, we're going to integrate with them. And it's now 2023. So
yeah, I mean, it's just not that simple.
It's not simple. No, it's not, and it's quite expensive. And so a lot of times, one of the things that I have to do is I have to kind of weigh. So everything, all of the things that we invest in the platform, come from our revenue, and I don't take a salary from VoiceOverView. It literally, I don't get paid for that. It's really my labor of love. And so what I what we do is we look at what we've got and we look at what what our users are asking for. And if anybody is a user on here, you know that if you've asked for something, we often do it. We'll go, oh yeah, I've gotten, six requests for that, or 10 requests for that. Absolutely. We'll do that. And off we go. So it's just a matter of kind of surfacing the bigger things that people want. And I don't know how many people actually use close on VoiceOverView. I should probably run a survey.
There we go. Great idea. And Jay, are you ready?
Oh, so no, all I was thinking was, have you considered outsourcing, having someone input all your information for you? I know JT may or may not have thought about that with 20 years of voiceover experience.
Well, yeah. So, somebody that most of us likely know, she's been in the business for 15 years and started using VoiceOverView 3 years ago, or maybe 4. And she had her daughter go in and backdate all of her revenue, so she can see her revenue trends. That's one thing that I love about VoiceOverView. So you can see your 13-month trailing revenue trend, and you can also see how it stacks up against the VoiceOverView community. And one of the lovely things about that is not to compare yourself to the VoiceOverView community in terms of, gosh, do I make more? Woohoo! Or do I make less? So sad. But more like, what's the trend? What's the revenue trend for voice actors generally? And so, for example, last month, the VoiceOverView trend, the community trend, was slightly up. My trend was not up. And so I could see, even though I tend to make more than the VoiceOverView community average, I could see that I had not trended up. I was actually trending down, and the VoiceOverView community was trending up. So it's a good wake up call. Like, ooh, what's happening there? What am I doing? Not doing? What should I be doing? Or is this just a blip because it was January?
That is an incredible functionality. I did not know that you had that. I love that.
Yeah, it's helpful. And it's not, you have to turn it on and turn it off, or you have to turn it on. And so, like, for somebody who's just starting out, so one of the things that's neat is the community average is between 3,500 and about 5,000, 5,100 a month. So it kind of fluctuates up and down. And that goes hand in hand, right along in line with the voice actors of New York, or NAVA, survey that they did, that they've done twice now, I think. And it's right in line with that broader community, because not everybody that took that survey is a member of VoiceOverView. So yeah, it's really nice to be able to see that. And if you're brand new, you can either look at it as aspirational, like, wow, look at people are making between 3,500 and 5,000 or more a month on average. Or you might look at it and go, ooh, gosh, I'm only making a couple hundred a month. That feels terrible. And so you just turn it off and you don't have to look at it.
That is incredible. I love that. I think Nava sent the survey out when they were doing their exploratory thing for the health insurance.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah.
Maybe that was why they did it. Oh, interesting. I never thought about why they did it. I just figured they did it as interesting. But yes.
Yeah, I think that was somehow part of the criteria that they needed.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
To be able to do that.
Okay. Yeah.
I can't even begin to tell you, like, I have 4 pages of notes from tonight. And there was something that we were talking about that you said you wanted to go back to, and I thought I put an asterisk next to it, and I didn't.
Yeah. So you were talking about contacts, what information should you have about contacts? Yeah. So when you're adding a contact to VoiceOverView, like, there's very minimal information that you need to add. But one of the things that's really great about VoiceOverView is when you book a job with that client, there's there are about 6 fields of information that you want to include, and that includes the job title, the type of job that it is, and when we have this really lovely comprehensive list of job types that you can customize so that only the types of things that you do are on there. So for example, I don't do anime, and I don't do ADR, and I don't do, whatever, right? Audio description. So I deselect everything on that list that I don't do. And so when I pull up the list to track a job, it's very simple. It's exactly customized to me. I can see with every client exactly how much money I have made with them over the course of our relationship. I can see all the number of jobs that I've done. So for example, I've been with Pandora for since 2017, and I have 500 and some odd line items, and that's not even the number of spots I've done, but I've had 500 and some odd bookings with them over the course of those years. And so it's a great way to really see the breadth and depth of your business, not only across your client base, but down to the client level. Pandora is a great example as well. So I don't work with just one producer there. I work with 21 different producers, and so all of those producers, all of that income rolls up to that top line of Pandora. So I can see what my overall income from Pandora is over the course of our relationship. And it's a great way to really understand your business and who your clients are. So yeah, that's one of the things that people love about VoiceOverView, is really being able to understand the value of different client relationships.
Yeah, and Jen and Aleesha will tell you I'm the geek girl who loves to dig into those numbers and those metrics. They kind of laugh at me with that, but that's okay. So
Yeah.
if you're selecting the genre, can you break down your metrics by genre so you know where you're
Yeah.
booking the most?
Yep. Yeah. On the dashboard, on the overview page, there are a couple of different cool widgets. One widget is job type mix and growth. So you can see the job types that you book most often in, and you can compare it year over year. And job source mix and growth. So where are you getting your work from? And you can compare that year over year. So in the job type area, early on in my voiceover business, it was mostly explainer videos, right? It was a little bit of commercial here and there, but it was mostly explainer videos, a couple of apps, a little bit of e-learning, that type of thing. Now it is by far and away, it's mostly commercial with a little bit of e-learning and other stuff thrown in. So you can see how your business shifts and flows over time, and same with where you're booking, where your income is coming from, specifically from your different sources, agents or managers, production houses, etc. You can also run reports that show like which jobs have you booked that you actually auditioned for, which jobs have you booked that in the last month. There's also tax stuff. There's also the ability to prepare for taxes on it. We are not tax advisors, just be clear about that, but we do provide you with information that is pretty damn good for sending off to your accountant, or if you're your own accountant, it will get you far.
That is also very helpful because I also procrastinate on that. So I have gotten so much better about keeping track of that information throughout the year, and I am that person with the Excel sheet with 7 different tabs on it. And so every expense goes on a tab, and the date and everything. My household expenses, because my studio is in my house, all of that stuff. I will sit down sometime next month and I will pull out all of the stuff from last year and I will fill in all of that. It takes me a whole day.
Yeah.
So I can send that into my accountant. And if I had a place to put all that throughout the year, I would probably make my life a whole lot easier.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, for sure.
And the integration with Wave and other other invoicing apps is incredible, because I use Wave and I've been using that for a few years now. So to be able to marry those two things in one place would be amazing.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question about that? How easy is that to do?
So
Or how hard?
It's so easy. So I will, and I can say that because when I started with, when I started, so I was using PayPal for a long time as my invoicing app, and I wasn't even asking people to pay me through PayPal because I didn't want to pay their stinky fees. So I would just create my invoice and save it as a PDF and send it via email, and they would pay me via check. So I was like, yeah, don't pay me via PayPal. Um, but when we decided to integrate with Wave, so that was a subscriber generated upgrade. Subscribers came to us and said, you know what, I would like to be able to invoice through VoiceOverView. We did a little survey, found out that by far and away, most of our subscribers were using Wave apps. So we started with Wave apps, and because we were integrating with it, I had to test it and understand how it worked. And I was blown away by how easy it was and lovely it is. So when you enter a job into VoiceOverView, you put the job title, and the rate and all that stuff. When you're ready to invoice it, you click a little link that says create invoice. So you will have created the connection between VoiceOverView and Wave apps or FreshBooks and QuickBooks. You'll have done that, and that's a little 1 minute, 2-step process. So very fast. Once you've done that, your connection is made. Now you click the create invoice button, a little pop-up shows up. You select from if you do service offerings, voiceover recording, session, fee, etc. You click and you choose your service, click create invoice. It will automatically populate from your last invoice number. It will populate the next invoice in line. It will have a line item that says voiceover recording. The next line is your job title that you've added into VoiceOverView when you tracked your job, and then you can send it straight from VoiceOverView with a little pop-up that comes up that you can customize your message, etc. Off it goes.
That is beautiful.
It's really lovely.
That is awesome. My question also, is it backwards compatible? So like I've been using Wave apps for a long time. I have all my clients in there. Is it easy to like transfer them into VoiceOverView, or that has to be done manually?
Actually, no. So what happens is when you make the connection with any of those three, when you make the connection, after you've done the first connection, the next one is a thing that says sync common contacts. You click on that. It does whatever it does. It VoiceOverView looks at Wave apps. Wave apps looks at VoiceOverView, and anything that is the same between the two, they just automatically match up. Next time you book a job, let's say you book a job with somebody that you haven't added into VoiceOverView yet, you'll just add them into VoiceOverView. You'll click a little button that says sync common contacts, and then you'll be ready to go. So one of the things with the API, and I love this feature because I want to protect people's data and financial information. So one of the features of all of the APIs is that VoiceOverView can only push up. It cannot pull down data. So your banking information that's in Wave apps or FreshBooks or QuickBooks, it stays there. There's no way for VoiceOverView to pull that data in. VoiceOverView only pushes information up, and that makes me really happy.
Yeah, that's fabulous. Thank you.
Yeah. But it doesn't take, when you add a new client or new to VoiceOverView client, it takes 4 fields of information: company, first, last, and email to get them in. And then assuming the email matches the email that you have in Wave apps, they'll automatically sync up.
That is the best. Oh my word. And I can't believe we've made it a whole hour. This just flew by. I have not taken this many pages of notes I can't remember the last time I had this many pages of notes from anything I've done.
I'll
So
be honest, I said at the beginning there was no way I was going to actually do a CRM. And now I'm like, well, maybe I could do this. So thank you, Dani.
You bet.
Oh,
Can I say one more thing?
of
So
course.
for VoiceOverView, we do so we have a 30-day trial, and we also do on the first and third Tuesday of every month. I do the oh gosh, what do I want to say about that? I do Ask Me Anything about VoiceOverView, and so anybody can jump into that, and I just answer people's questions, kind of like today. I don't have a set presentation. There's no like, let me tell you about this thing. It's more of what questions you have and how can I answer them. And we walk through and I share my data, and we just talk about how to do things either on VoiceOverView better if you're somebody who's using VoiceOverView, or talk about how to incorporate it if you're not using it.
Where do we find that?
Well, right now, I'm going to have to send you a link. It will be on our new website. So our new website is going up in the next 15 days. It should be up. Our
Okay.
new public facing website should be up in the next 15 days. And then there will be a link where you can register for that. So that's, I'm lame. Sorry.
No, you're totally fine. Before you go, though, we like to ask our guests 3 just for fun questions, kind of like James Lipton style. Number 1, what singer, band, or composer are you enjoying right now?
Okay, well, that's funny you should ask that. I was just driving home. I went away for the weekend. And on my drive home today, my Pandora thumbprint played in succession Taylor Swift, Jimi Hendrix, and The National. So
That's awesome. That's great. That sounds like our house. Yeah, you
Yeah.
never know what you're going to get.
Exactly.
Is there a podcast you've been listening to lately?
Yeah, I've been listening to Unstuck Entrepreneur with a gal named Sean Miner.
I think you're the second guest who has mentioned that. I think we're going to have to check that out.
I think
Yeah.
so too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like her a lot.
Yeah, that's definitely the second time. It may have been Deb Sperling. So to wrap it up, what is your favorite dessert?
Let's see. I think my favorite dessert is beignets, Italian donuts.
Oh, I have never had those.
What?
I have
you
not.
ever been to New Orleans?
I have been to New Orleans, but I did not have
They're
those.
so good.
I'm not
So
sure how
good.
New Orleans allowed you to leave without having a beignet.
Yeah.
JT. Okay, we gotta fix that.
Or a zeppoli. They're called beignets or zeppolis depending on where you're from. But yeah.
Nope, haven't had it.
Okay, I'll still be your bestie for now, I guess.
Well, just bring me some in Atlanta.
We'll work on it.
Just, stick them in your suitcase.
We'll work on it. Well, guys, thanks again, Dani, for joining us. And thanks to all of you in the audience for learning with us, for joining us, for supporting us. Dani, this was absolutely just amazing. We have gotten so much information. Before you go, we want to remind everyone that thanks to you, VO Booth Besties is continuing to grow, and we now are 2 nights a week. We're on Mondays and Thursdays, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And like I said early on, get on our mailing list. Go to Booth Besties, get on our mailing list so you can get updates. We've got lots of really cool things on the docket, and we would love for you to be a part of it. Over to you, AB.
Yeah, speaking of things on the docket, we are excited to share that next week our guest speaker, we're super thrilled to bring back Tim Friedlander. Tim is going to be this time discussing NAVA, the National Association of Voice Actors. If you're new to voice acting, it's something that you really want to learn about. Head over to Booth Besties, submit any questions on our website, and we'll do our best to include them in our interview. And while we're talking about NAVA, there are 3 days left in our fundraiser for NAVA. So we are selling some T-shirts. Then all of the proceeds go to support other voice actors being able to attend conferences or support that they need. So please check that link out at the top of the page before we close out and help us support the fund that supports our community. And Also, to keep the conversation going, connect with us each on LinkedIn and follow VOBB on Facebook. If you want to hear replays of tonight's episode or previous ones, I put the link in the chat, but also just go to our website and go to the podcast link, and you can listen anywhere you listen to your podcasts or right there on the website. Good night, everybody.
Thanks so much, you guys. That was
Good
really,
night.
really fun. Thank you.
Thanks, Dani.
Thank you, Dani. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to another episode of VO Booth Besties.
Be sure to subscribe to our podcast. Well, pretty much anywhere they're playing podcasts.
And follow us on Instagram and Facebook so we can keep the conversation going.
VO Booth Besties.
Yeah, it's a thing.